Julián Castro announced this morning that he would be dropping out of the 2020 Democratic primary. We've got a little bit of the video that he posted announcing this.
It's time for the Democratic Party to change the way that we do our presidential nominating process.
I'm so proud of the campaign we've run together. We've shaped the conversation on so many important issues in this race, stood up for the most vulnerable people, and given a voice to those who are often forgotten. But with only a month until the Iowa caucuses, and given the circumstances of this campaign season, I've determined that it simply isn't our time. So today, it's with a heavy heart and with profound gratitude that I will suspend my campaign for president.
So Ryan, I saw in the wake of this announcement that pretty much everyone had something nice to say about Julián Castro. I mean, there are a few people who entered this race and have done perhaps lasting damage to their reputations, but it doesn't appear at this point that Julián Castro is one of those people.
No, and interestingly, he seems to see a path on the progressive side for him in the future. You know, he was kind of always associated with more of the Clinton wing of the party, so, you know, served in the Clinton administration, in fact, or sorry, in the Obama administration, but associated with the kind of the Clinton wing.
Yeah.
But really kind of broke out as a progressive in this campaign. And what he might be looking ahead at is that, you know, both Sanders and Warren are in their 70s. And, you know, Ocasio-Cortez would be technically eligible to run for president in 2024, but that, you know, it's not clear that that's where that's headed just yet. And so after that, you know, who are the kind of, you know, people to carry the progressive mantle forward that have, you know, national name ID, which this presidential campaign showed is extraordinarily important for, you know, to win the nomination. You know, it's going to be extremely hard for governors, for instance, to rise to the presidency going forward unless they do something about the process that they're using. And so Castro could say, you know what, there's nobody else in the progressive lane. So if I kind of make some of the same moves that Tulsi made in 2016, you know, bashing the DNC, you know, and kind of throwing red meat to the left, maybe that's enough to get me taken seriously enough by progressives that I could be kind of you know, eligible for that vote in 4 years from now or 8 years from now.
So look, you've got a lot of experience. You've seen a lot of these campaigns, but also what people have done going out of the campaigns. If you know, let's say Castro agrees with you, and that is what he wants to do over the next 4 years or so, or a little bit more, what does he do? How does he spend that time? Well,
the first thing he does is either endorses a progressive candidate. You know, Sanders would be his, you know, the kind of strongest move if he's really going for it, or endorses a Warren and gets in the ground and tries to earn chits that way. Tries to earn the confidence of people by taking a real risk, because you're now taking on your party establishment. And otherwise, you kind of speak out against the party establishment in key moments. That would be the kind of way that you would set yourself up for that sort of thing.
So let me ask you one other question. And look, I think that he did a lot right, especially if the goal was not necessarily to win this time, but to generate a sort of new veneer of his sort of who he is. But why do you think that while we've seen a few candidates really rise, like Warren certainly had her surge, Buttigieg popped up too, Andrew Yang has gotten quite a following. Why do you think that Castro wasn't one of those candidates this time around?
Well, he kind of got boxed out in a couple of different corners. So, you know, he wasn't, you know, with both Warren and Sanders on the left, you know, there's very little room over there, as well as, you know, Yang and Tulsi taking, you know, a non-trivial chunk from, you know, if you combine them 6-8 points, you know, that ends up mattering. So then after that, you've got, you know, the possibility of winning on the moderate side, but he was, you know, too many people were angry at him for coming after Joe Biden, and he was kind of behaving in kind of too progressive a way to be able to win that moderate those moderate votes, which ended up then kind of going to Buttigieg instead. And so once that happened, there was really no room for him or for people like Cory Booker as well.
Yeah, well, he ran a good campaign. It seems like he's one of the few who's leaving the campaign with a better reputation than he entered. So good job by Julián Castro there. Ryan Grimm, Washington Bureau Chief for The Intercept. Thank you as always for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.